They want you to believe everything's just fine, that supply chains are stable, running smoothly, and the trade war is under control. Those were the exact claims made by Scott Bessant, a well-known investor and former advisor to George Soros. According to him, the real chaos is hidden, out of sight from the public eye. But take even a brief look beyond the headlines, and you'll notice something completely different and deeply concerning. Major ports like Los Angeles and Long Beach are suddenly seeing big drops in activity. Shipments are being canceled in large numbers, and empty containers are piling up. Tariffs? They're not being eased, they're climbing. And this isn't just a case of prices going up a little from inflation. This is something much more serious. We're not just talking about things getting pricier, we're talking about things vanishing from shelves. Imagine walking into a store and finding empty shelves, not because the store is going out of business, but because the goods simply never arrived. Groceries, electronics, even medicine, either stuck somewhere or not coming at all. And yes, it's already happening. Behind the carefully worded press releases, electric vehicle plants are quietly halting production. Why? Because they're missing key parts from China, batteries, chips, rare components. And without them, production stops. The global system we depend on is falling apart, and the people in charge aren't willing to admit it. But this is just the start of a much bigger problem. Stick around, because in the next section we'll show how a so-called 90-day pause in the trade war gave people false hope, even as the whole system was already coming undone behind the scenes. Back in late 2024, when the US and China announced a 90-day break in their trade war, it was marketed as a major breakthrough. The media cheered, markets jumped, leaders promised that talks were back on track. But behind the smiles and handshakes, the reality looked very different. Even as politicians celebrated the truce, big parts of the supply chain were already breaking down. US companies weren't rushing to place more orders, they were quietly canceling them. Many didn't even announce it publicly. No one wanted to cause panic, but panic was already creeping in. At the Port of Los Angeles, officials projected a 35% drop in volume. Not for next year, but right now. That kind of drop doesn't mean business is slowing, it means it's breaking. Ships weren't arriving, warehouses weren't filling, truckers had fewer deliveries. This wasn't a pause. It was a full-on stall, followed by silence. It's like watching a car slowly roll toward a cliff. From the outside, it looks fine. But inside, the brakes are gone. The driver's not steering. And the drop is coming fast. During those 90 days, the public was told that things were getting better. But under the surface, the system was crumbling. And just because everything seemed stable on the outside didn't mean it really was. Next, we'll look at what happens when this slow-motion breakdown turns into a sudden collapse, and how it's already hitting the stores you rely on every day. You've probably heard people brush it off by saying, it's just a supply chain issue. Like it's some quick glitch that'll fix itself. But what if that glitch turns into a total failure? What if every link in the chain starts breaking down? In the US, over 60% of retail inventory relies on Chinese imports. That includes everything from clothes and gadgets to basic medicine and key parts used in electric cars. Let's talk about the big names: Walmart, Target, Home Depot. These are huge retail giants, not small stores that can adjust quickly. Their shelves are stocked months in advance, mostly with goods from China. When those shipments slow down or stop, there's no easy fix. You can't just restock overnight if nothing's arriving. Electronics are the first to be hit. Laptops, smartphones, TVs, all need parts made in Asia, mostly in China. Medicines? A surprising number of common drugs are made or packaged in China and India. Even everyday foods, sauces, snacks, canned items, rely on imported ingredients or packaging. And then there's the booming EV market. A single electric vehicle battery needs dozens of components, many only available from China. Microchips, same issue. If just one of those parts goes missing, the whole car can't be built. Production stops. Some companies tried to stockpile parts ahead of time to beat the tariffs. But here's the catch: tariffs are charged at customs, not when the order is placed. So even those early shipments still get taxed, And those costs hit you, the consumer. Now imagine this. You walk into a store on a normal day, not during a blizzard or emergency, and the shelves are bare. Not because you can't afford the items, but because they're simply not there. That's no longer a what if. It's already happening, slowly, right in front of us. Next, we'll tackle a common myth, that we can just shift our supply chains to Vietnam or India and carry on like normal. The truth? It's far more complicated, and the real solutions are anything but simple. Whenever people hear about problems with Chinese imports, they often say, just move the factories to Vietnam or India. Sounds easy, but in reality, that's like saying you can replace an airport with a gas station. The scale isn't even close. China spent decades building its supply chain dominance. It's not just about cheap labor. It's about full-blown infrastructure. Ports, highways, rail lines, specialized factories, trained workers, and lightning-fast logistics. Yes, places like Vietnam, Cambodia, and Bangladesh are growing fast, but they don't have the scale or capacity. In fact, many of those countries are already at their limits. Factories are full, ports are clogged, labor costs are rising. And now, even Vietnam, once seen as the great alternative, is being hit with new U.S. tariffs, too. The trade war isn't shrinking, it's spreading. Shipping costs from alternative countries jumped 23% in just 1 month, and that's before you even count slower output or lower quality goods. Take electric vehicles again. EV batteries aren't like Lego bricks. You can't just swap in a new part from a different country. Many rare earth minerals used in batteries and chips are only processed in China. If that link breaks, the entire EV industry grinds to a halt. No batteries, no chips, no cars. So the idea that we can just shift production somewhere else is a comforting story. But it's fiction. The real world is messy. And as supply chains get more strained, the pressure is showing. Not just in factories, but in your wallet, your commute, and your medicine cabinet. Coming up next, this isn't just a trade issue. It's an economic time bomb that's already leading to layoffs, rising prices, and a growing loss of confidence. The ripple effects are massive, stretching from global markets to local economies. Governments are scrambling for answers. But the path forward is uncertain, and the clock is ticking.